Good evening, friends. This side Rahul Maganier is a Group Chief Executive Officer, Treasury Consulting, and also a venture capitalist. Standing today from our new office in India, we are shooting a very important video, wherein we will try and cover a few important questions about the banking. Now, this video would be about 20-25 minutes video, wherein we got a lot of questions from different bankers. As you know that I am ex-Treasury head of an American company, so we have very good relationship with the bankers. So we got a lot of questions from banker, but we are not revealing the name of the banks as well as the banker this time. Like in the earlier video, we revealed the name, but this time we are not revealing. So the first question, and whatever answers we are giving, that is our answers. You know that we are always straight. So this is our answer. I am taking the complete, saying that it's my answer. It's nobody else's answer. Okay. So let's have, we got approximately 8 questions, and let us go question by question about what we got in the banking side. Number one question which we got, that where the banking is heading and where is the B schools. A lot of time I answered this question, but this question came again, and this time I would like to let you know that banking is heading nowhere. Banking, gone are the days when the banking used to be the banking, when bankers used to create the product, when banker used to make something new for the world, when we used to devise something new for the world. But now we are living in a world when bankers are really interested in making money. Like recently in the Singapore, Monetary Authority of Singapore discarded, in fact punished 2 bankers for giving a fake bank guarantee in the name of the big banks. And you won't trust that they both working in a very big banks, right? I'm not revealing the name in the public domain. You can visit Google and check it out. Nowadays we are living in a banking when bankers have just one thing in the mind, and I know that if many bankers will dislike my word, that I'm not worried, right? The question is that banks have decided one thing very clearly, that we have to start at 9 AM and we have to maybe wind up at 6 PM, 7 PM or 8 PM. We will do nothing great after that. And within this time also, we will do only what being asked by the regulatory. So if the regulatory is asking anything, we will do. If the regulatory is not asking anything, we will not do that. We will not use our brain. So just like Goldman, which is standing at $42, $43 trillion of a derivative book, and from a normal forward contract till very exotic swap, they created that, and that is, we thank you to them, and we as a young kids are using them. But nowadays there are a lot of banks which I can tell you, and I never worry, like Standard Chartered, like HSBC, like Deutsche anyways is a history. Barclays, you have UBS, you have Credit Suisse. Do you remember that there is any single instruments which is being created by them in the last 2-3 years? I don't recall that. Or if you recall that, any good regulatory comment they came up with, it could be on MiFID II, it could be on fundamental review of the trading book and all. There are many independent research firms and the independent consultancy companies like us, those who are giving multiple comments on the fundamental review of the trading book. They are sharing their views, and they are letting people know that something wrong is happening in the fundamental review of the trading book. But I am yet to find a very good report in the public domain wherein any bank came in the public domain and give its recommendation on the fundamental review of the trading book. In fact, the saddest part of the life is that, according to the public news, that the initial margin, which is a big bang reform, I call it as a big bang reform, initial margin is now getting postponed. I do not know which all banks are before this, why regulators are listening to the banks. You first postponed the fundamental review of the trading book, which is supposed to hit 1st January 2019. Now it is 1st January 2022, and now the initial margin is being postponed. Now it's not official as yet, but I know that there is no smoke without a fire. So you cannot have a smoke without a fire. And as far as the question, second part of the question is concerned, where is the banking heading and where are the B schools, then I am very sure of one fact, that many business school faculties do not like me, and now they do not like me more because of the Julia, that we'll discuss later. Now in case of B schools, whatever is being taught is not required in the banking. Because one thing is very clear, banking is now heading towards an automation. Several million jobs will go. There is no doubt about that. Since several million jobs will go, banks are heavily reliant on the consultancy company to come on their board and implement a project. They need the right people in the business school, those who understand these things. But unfortunately, business schools are not teaching them. Since business schools are not teaching them, they are facing a huge issue, and this issue is going to cost them soon. That's it. Is the knowledge gap between banking and a B school is widening? Absolutely. There is no doubt about that. And I think the knowledge gap between the business school and the banking is widened to a level that now it cannot be repaired. So we are not, this gap started widening in 2000, approximately 2008 or somewhere in 2007. When the world faced the financial crisis and majority of the B schools were simply silent, were audience, because they even failed. If you don't trust me, you just open the Google and see that when the 2008 financial crisis happened, which business school, Harvard, Stanford, Kellogg, or maybe you have the great list. Forget Indian business schools. Indian business schools are only running to make money, including IIMs. They have no other objective. That is the only thing they are doing. But nonetheless, in 2008 when the world crisis happened, several bankers came in public domain. We came in public domain, I came in public domain, and we criticized the regulations, the regulators, and sometimes both. But I am not recall that I have seen any business school even from 2008 till now, which is 2019, which is practically 11 years. In the last 11 years, I have not seen a single business school who came in the public domain and criticizes these regulations or criticizes the bankers. Every time you will see these business schools is busy in marketing their programs, and each program is costing thousands of dollars, which excludes accommodation. I have never seen Harvard, Stanford, Kellogg, and all the top notches, which is also known as the Ivy League business schools, to come forward in the public domain and criticizes the regulator. And I don't think that I am going to see them in the next 10 years as well, to be honest. Third is that what we need to do to stay employed in 2030, or it's all going to be mass unemployment in the banking in the next 10 years. If you ask me the honest answer, then I think that we are heading as a mass unemployment. By 2030, more than 25 to 35% workforce, according to me. By 2030, more than 25 to 35% of the workforce is going to get discarded or redundant. The reason is very clear. Once you join any banking company or any consultancy company in the bank, then one thing you never do is that you start reading something. I hardly know anyone who works in a consultancy company in my personal domain who do have a YouTube channel, who is writing articles, who is shooting videos, or who is pasting his comments on the LinkedIn or social networking site. I know a lot of bankers, but most of the bankers, like recently we gave a training to the banks in Singapore, and it was about IIM. Now we again going to schedule a meeting, training in September in Singapore. You would be surprised to know that when we were discussing about initial margins, even banks said that we were not aware about that. And one thing which was coming to my mind is that, boss, when was the last time you opened Reuters, Bloomberg, good books, research journals, the notes from the regulator and all? You hardly let people do that. Henceforth, when the changes happen, the majority of the people in the banking domain will get unemployed, and that will continue to happen. Let me assure you, that will continue to happen. Question number 4: Are bankers updated about latest prudential regulatory norms? I don't think so. I really don't think so. We operate a WhatsApp group, and in this WhatsApp group we have almost all banks. People from Dubai, people from US, people from Singapore, people from India, and all. Whenever I am posting a question to the bankers, they all are silent. And whenever I am posting a question in the form of the YouTube, on our YouTube channel, YouTube quiz, they are silent. Whenever we are posting the videos on LinkedIn and all, they are silent. I hardly get to know any banker who is a competent authority who is able to get the job done. I hardly get to know. The reason is very clear, because if you really have to be updated, you have to work very well. Now it is 3 p.m. Singapore timing. It is 3 p.m. in the Singapore, and I don't know you trust or not, I am shooting this video. I have no monetary benefit. I'm going to get this, but I'm shooting this video because I wanted to update people. It is 3 p.m. Singapore, right? Then are banks moving to commoditization, and at which level, medium, low or high? First of all, let me explain the definition of the commoditization, from where the word commoditization is coming. I hope many people, those who are watching this video, are from Singapore or they've been to Singapore at least once. If you go to Singapore nowadays, you will get a very recent phenomenon, and that recent phenomenon is that the SPT, Singapore Bus, which is the government authority, they have painted their buses in the red. Don't worry, they really don't want to paint it. They did it because they're getting the income from DBS, Development Bank of Singapore, DBS Singapore. And also in blue by the Salesforce. In a 70-kilometer country, the DBS is doing heavily advertisement. You go to MRTs, you go to buses, you go to everywhere they have their stalls. I think several thousands or maybe several hundred ATMs which they are operating. DBS is doing extensive marketing in Singapore. Now my question is that, in 2008 when I first landed to Singapore and I had a meeting with the DBS about a derivative instrument, it took 10 minutes for the DBS to give this derivative instrument on the paper. And now the same DBS, not the DBS, in fact UOB and OCBC and almost all Singaporean banks are heavily reliant on the marketing, and they are zero reliant on the product innovation. Since they are zero reliant on the product innovation, the biggest question is coming, how long we would continue to run this model? Because the commoditization is very high. Commoditization means that when the heterogeneous products are not coming. Today, majority of the banks are working on their payment apps, and the reason is clear. They wanted to tap the $1 trillion payment market, and they are very sure that even if there is a paper thin margin, they are fine. But most of the banks worldwide, in fact in Singapore, that's a very hard thing, we have made video also, that BNP Paribas closing equity desk in Singapore. Now it is DBS which has, I think, almost closed the commodities desk in Singapore. BNP Paribas already closed commodities desk in Singapore. Majority of the big banks of the globe have already closed the commodities and the equity desk in Singapore. The question is that all the desks which used to generate the heterogeneous income, heterogeneous product, they are down, they are winded up. Banks are clear, high commoditization, less margin, we are okay. This is how the banking industry is operating now. I repeat, high commoditization, less margin, we are okay. As simple as that. Are heterogeneous product history? Absolutely yes. I don't think that now we are living in an era when the Blankfin were Blankfin used to be the Goldman head, and Blankfin used to have a huge amount of products in the public domain. I think the days are over, but that is good. That need not to worry. Treasury Consulting will take this pattern and move forward. What do you think the future of bots? And are they going to replace the human species? Absolutely yes, that's my straight answer. And I have few facts also. Erica is a retail bot by Bank of America. It's via an app actually. Erica, according to the internet information which we have on the internet, I'm not saying whether this internet information is correct. I'm not saying that, I do not know. But this internet information suggests that in the last 1 year, Erica served 6 million clients. So I need to take a calculator and I need to divide 6 million with 272. The reason is the financial market works in 272 days. It effectively meant that if Erica served 6 million people in 272 days in worldwide, it effectively meant that how many thousands of jobs is being lost because of Erica. Bots is the future, that's for sure. Because banking is heading towards a non-human being banking. Banker want or a bank want, they need to have a bot. If you have a retail banking problem at 1 AM in the night, you contact the bot and bot will answer you. If you have a problem at 4 a.m. in the morning, you contact the bot and the bot will answer you. More importantly, now the banking is not moving towards a bot, and the banking is moving towards a chat bot. Whereby, like, I don't want to name the bank, but we have few banks in the public domain, those who have the local websites, and their local websites have the local chat box. Now, we are moving towards the voice bots. The things are changing. Bots are history. Now the world is moving towards chat bot in terms of local language. And soon the world will move towards the voice bot in the local language. So you have 6 people in the different countries, like one is in Switzerland who is talking Swiss language, one is in Singapore who is talking English, one is in India who is talking Hindi, one is in US who is talking an American accent, one is in UK who is talking about the British accent. And all will speak to a one bot. That dream is is very far. I think 5 to 10 years from here, this would be a reality. Second asked question, would the middle office merge with the front office in 2025? I am 200% sure. Back office is a history now, and the credit goes to machine learning. Because of the machine learning, artificial intelligence and the virtual reality and now the internet of things, back office is a history now. Similarly, rightfully asked, I don't think that after 2025 you would left with any front or any middle office. Maybe the middle office will merge with the front office, God knows, but the merger will supposed to happen. The last question somebody asked, your vision for Julia and how Julia would look like. As you know that Treasury Consulting Group is launching a bot which is known as the Julia. And Julia is coming up Julia will support the English language, but we're going to use the Google translation to convert Julia into multiple languages in the next 1-2 years. Hopefully by 2024, Julia will take up the shape like you have Alexa now. We're going to put it on your table and you can ask question from Julia. Sitting today, Julia is coming up with 16 asset classes, and if I go, I think 160 sub asset classes, closer by 1,000 sub asset classes, and approximately 2,000 triple sub asset classes, followed by a question. Julia would be the first bot in the globe, which includes it would be the first bot in the world. Even if you compare with the Erica and the Marcus of the Goldman and Banker and Standard Chartered Bank Stacy, it would be the first bot in the globe who would have the multiple selection. Like you can have a one keyword and you can have a multiple selection. And at the same time, Julia would be the first bot who would have the inbuilt sliders. Plus also the chatting system with the admin, which is me. There are many things which we are coming up in the Julia. The demo version is ready, and I think we are ready to move to the production, and hopefully in the next 10-15 days we will move towards the production and Julia would be ready. I assure you that Julia is not the only thing which we are doing. After Julia, we would be launching the Christy, who would be the world first virtual CFO assistant, and then we would be launching the Steve, who would be our defense bot, who would be acting as a bot for our defense business. There are multiple things on the way, but the first thing is Julia. Julia would be very much active on mobile phones. It can be tracked from the tablets, desktop, laptop in multiple ways. With this, Treasury Consulting, thank you very much. And I think that if you notice that these all are the designings which are happening of Julia. I cannot show you much because these all designings will be stored very confidentially with Treasury Consulting. These all are the designing which are happening. We are launching 16 plus asset classes in Julia, and trust me that at the last level we're going to have more than 5,000 plus questions in Julia, which also includes the inbuilt sliders and the chat facility system. Multiple things are coming, but to wind up this video, I would like to assure you that if you are a banker and you are not doing the self-study, you are wasting your time on the movies and all these things, then there is a limited amount of days which is left for your job. Because banking is changing very fast. We are moving towards bots, we are moving towards robots, God knows what is there in the pipeline. With this, Treasury Consulting would like to thank you very much. You know our mobile number 919899242978. You know our fixed income platform www.fixedincome.global, and there are multiple things on the cards. Have a good time and talk soon.